B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, to talk about one of the dopest MCs to ever do it. Mixing clever lyrics, a unique flow, and comedy, Reggie Noble should be considered for any top 10 MC list. It also doesn't hurt that he had Eric Sermon behind the boards. This week, top 10 Redman songs. Joining me, as always, my man Raven Hunter, and Diz Mega is back too. Let's talk about Redman. And I'll start it off with the song that I always have one of these, keeps sneaking on. I try to take it off, it sneaks back on. And this song is from 1998's Doc's the Name, which was a lot better than I remembered. And that song is The Goodness featuring Busta Rhymes. I just always love this beat. The beat, I cannot not nod my head. The beat gets me. Even little things. In the second verse, Redman mentions the song All About the Benjamins, and they bring in that beat for like half a second. Just perfectly done. Red flows like fluid over it. Busta Rhymes kills it. It's kind of I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure, but it's just one that kept sneaking up on the list because it just gets me every time. So the Goodness with Busta Bus. Raven, what's your number 10?
I'm glad that song got some love. My number 10, surprisingly, was Cisco Kid from the 2001 How High soundtrack, produced by the Rottweiler. It had Method Man and Cypress Hill in it. I just love that beat. I like the way they flipped that sample, and I really loved that movie. I think Redman was hilarious in that movie, Method Man too, but I like Redman's acting too, surprisingly. I just love some Redman. But I was surprised with Cisco Kid. That song never really stuck out to me back in the day, but all my re-listens lately, I kept going back to that song.
It is a dope remake from the funk group War. And almost every main War song has been remade, but I don't really remember any other Cisco Kid until that one, which is kind of surprising because that was a big song. And I only know that because my dad used to listen to War, so he'd always play them records when I was a little kid. So I knew all the War songs. When rappers would sample them, I'd be like, oh shit, I actually know where that sample's from. All right, number 10, Diz, what do you got?
All right, so I gotta admit, I'm new to Redman. So just a little background. I heard him with I've heard him in the past, but never dug into his library until this assignment.
Wow.
But
Interesting.
so I'm kind of coming from I guess an ignorant point of view. So I think you'll appreciate it anyways. But when I heard him on that versus battle with Method Man, I was impressed, man. That track, making his playlist and everything. I got my 10th. Got to be a Serial Killer from Blackout. That's Method Man and Redman with RZA on the beat. And it's just a dope ass song, man. I was really pleasantly surprised to see that RZA did the beat on there because I love finding some gems by the RZA. So I got to go with Serial Killer as my number 10, the Blackout record.
No, that's a good pick. That's probably a top 3 favorite song off that record. That first Blackout album's really good too. No, this is good that you're coming at it with fresh. It'll be an interesting point of view. So
I like that.
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. All right, which brings us to number 9, and I'm going to 1994's There's a Dark Side, which, sidebar, when this dropped for about 4 or 5 months, I thought it was the greatest thing ever made. I just was addicted to this album, and I hope someone out there understands what I'm saying, but ever since it came out, when I listen to this album, I feel like I should be in a smoke-filled basement at night. Just the down, basement-y, dark vibe, but yet so funky. And I didn't even tell you what song is my number 9, and that's Rockefeller. It's a classic, track. This was the first single off the album. Classic Redman verses. Like I said, love the sample, funky beat. Yeah, There's a Dark Side. It's always my favorite Redman, just because it's got that feel. Does that make sense to you, Raven? Like, you're in a basement that's full of smoke at midnight.
Yeah, totally. I could see that. The lights are out. It's just kind of dim in there.
Yeah.
Maybe like a red or blue light, something, just kind of really funky and dark. That whole record gives that vibe.
Exactly. So that was my number 9, Rockefeller. What's yours?
My number 9 was actually Serial Killer with Blue
Uh,
Raspberry and Method Man from 1999's Blackout. It's a RZA beat, and it was when RZA was still just killing it. Up until around that era, to 2000, is when I think he started kind of falling apart and sounding a little repetitive. But I think Serial Killer still had that nice. It didn't even really feel like a RZA beat, but it did, which I like.
it's a little bit faster than your typical RZA beat.
Yeah.
That didn't even make my honorable mentions. I feel nothing off of Blackout did.
Oh,
And that's no diss to Blackout. I just I went through the two Blackouts and I like them, but I was kind of just thinking more. I'll stick with the solo ones, but they deserve to
yeah.
be on here. Serial Killer's a dope song, no doubt about it. All right, Diz, what made number 9 on your list?
Number 9 from the Reggie album, All I Do, featuring a spot with Faith Evans of all people. It's a little commercial type of a radio jam, I bet. I like the song though. I think it's worthy of his top 10 in my book. That's one of the favorites that I found. So, All I Do from that Reggie record.
That Reggie record kind of gets skipped over because it was kind of a little downturn and I don't think it was really pushed much. It kind of just snuck by under the radar.
I'd never seen it.
Yeah,
I think that's the first album he put out without Def Jam, if I'm not mistaken.
right. It might have been like on Koch or one of
It was
those.
a Gilla Squad or whatever his label
Oh
was that
yeah,
he made
Gilla
up.
House, Gilla House.
Yeah, Gilla House.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't promoted like a Def Jam album, obviously. All right, number 8, and I'm going to it's 2001's Malpractice, which is kind of a fun album. Not just because you got the midget nurse on the cover. I'm a little person nurse. I can edit that.
Mm.
And I'm going with Enjoy the Ride. It's a posse track. It features Meth, Socrates, and Street Life, but all of them just kill it. It's a faster beat, and this song and beat just makes me smile. They all ride the beat perfectly. There's no weak link. All 4 kill it. And it's kind of like the goodness. I just can't not nod my head and get into it. Even thinking about the beat, I want to rock out. There were a handful of songs off this album that just missed my list, but this one had to make it. They all bring their A game. Enjoyed the ride, and I damn sure enjoyed it. That's a bridge for you. Number 8, what do you got, Raven?
So I stayed in 2001 on the How High soundtrack. I stayed on that. I think Rottweiler made the beat. No, Eric Sermon for part 2 with Tony Braxton and Method Man. Tony Braxton, sorry. I think that was a really cool little mashup to have her in it. It's a sequel to How High. It doesn't hold a candle to How High, but that beat is really nice. It's again the super commercial sounding Redman. I think he fits really well with that, just the silly uppity beats. And I can't believe part 2 made my list. I don't remember ever really loving that song back when the movie came out. But I listened to it like 8 times just today. So I had to go with part 2.
And that's the great thing about these lists is you kind of rediscover it's songs you've heard before, but it's like, oh shit. Or you look at them different than you did 25 years ago. And you're right, nothing holds a candle to the original How High. Number 8, Diz, what do you got?
So I went with a song he just came out with last year, So Cool, produced that. Eric Sermon, actually. And him and Eric work a lot together, I have found out. It's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's got me looking at some Eric Sermon stuff too now. So I like the track, though. It was an easy find, of course. Just came out as it was single, but I don't think the project that this is supposed to be on, if it's really going to be on an album, has come out yet. But I'm waiting for some more, anyways, of this style. So this came out to be one of my favorite tracks. So cool.
That's actually on his upcoming Muddy Waters 2 that he's still working on. It's like year 3 that he's working on this album. But
yeah, at least
year 3. Nice, dope.
It's not quite to Detox level, but it's been talked about for a while. Nothing will ever be at Detox level. We're at 25 years.
It's like vaporware, vapor music.
Right. All right, number 7, and I'm going back to what I'm gonna just say now is my favorite Redman album still. There's a Dark Side, and I'm going with Cosmic Slop. Speaking of Eric Sermon, Eric did this beat. Eric, of course, put him on when he was in EPMD. That's where Redman first was heard in the world, on EPMD albums. just the way the bass hits on this, it's like a sucking sound almost. It like sucks you in to the speakers. Features Eric Sermon and Keith Murray rapping. This is Def Squad before they were Def Squad. All three of them bring their A game on the mic, but man, this beat is so funky. It fits this album perfectly. Another one I couldn't leave off. Cosmic Slop, just that beat gets me. Funky as hell. E double on the beat. Raven, what's your number 7?
Number 7, I went to 96 to the Muddy Waters album, still being produced by Eric Sermon. So we got Whatever Man with Eric Sermon. Just a really fun track, and I love Eric Sermon. Eric Sermon I got into before I got into Redman, and then it just kind of all worked out. Keith Murray's also dope. I don't think Keith Murray's solo shit holds any kind of candle to Eric or Redman, but he has some pretty decent shit. But yeah, Whatever Man, it has that perfect Def Squad sound. Like you said, Def Squad before Def Squad had started dropping together.
Yeah, if I quick name 5 Redman songs, I'd probably say Whatever Man, because such a catchy ass song, and it's what I think of with Redman, the comedy, the whole vibe of it.
He just has fun on the mic, and that makes me enjoy what he's doing.
Yeah, and it still pops me when he's just, I don't know why, but like, you want to fuck, bitch? Whatever, man. It gets me every time. It's the little things in life that make me happy now. Number 7, Diz, what do you got?
So from Blackout 2, Mrs. International, Method Man, Redman, Eric Sermon. It's a smooth track, man, but I found it catchy, and I couldn't get it off my list. I love the track. So I'm finding that I'm liking a lot of his songs that are probably really great when you're smoking weed or something. And there's a lot of tracks that kind of weave their way in here. It's like, this is Redman, man. This is what he's about. I love it. So Mrs. International, pretty cool track. Him and Method Man together have a great chemistry, though, man. Just great.
So much chemistry.
It's amazing the chemistry they have. I know. It's like they grew up rhyming together as little kids. They're so perfect together. Okay, we are at 6, and I'm going back to 1998's Doc's the Name, an album that really holds up good. And in some ways, it might even hold up better than There's a Dark Side. There's a Dark Side has a more dated sound to it. I feel like I'm in the 90s. Doc's the Name could have came out 5-10 years ago, and it came out in 98. But speaking of fun, I'm going with I'll Be That. This hook, I mean, what a great hook that sums up Redman's sense of humor. The hook for this gets me every time. Great rhymes over a dope beat. Did I say the hook? It gets me every time. But you guys gotta, if you've never seen it, check out the video where it's Redman on TV, and every time they're switching the channel, he's on like another show or another commercial, but each one is funny as hell. Like there's a cola commercial for Redman Cola, and when everyone drinks it like in slow motion, and they all spit it out because it tastes like shit. Or this is the video where the music stops and they're watching this fine girl drive by on a bike, and then she runs into the back of a car. I mean, it's just Redman at his best. Go watch this video. The cereal, it has more sugar for more cavities. I mean, it's just great. I'm done rambling. Number 6, Raven, what's yours?
Number 6, I went to 2001's Malpractice with Let's Get Dirty. I Can't Get in the Club with DJ Cool. He was on Christina Aguilera's Dirty. And I loved his little verse on that. So when I got Malpractice and that song was on there, like a whole long ass solo version, I love that shit. And it's that type of beat that Redman just rides perfectly. Let me see. I think the Rockwilder made that beat, and it's ridiculous how good Redman sounded on a Christina Aguilera song. And I don't know whether he made his version first or if she made hers first, but either way, I was a big fan of that song back then too. So I always loved his Let's Get Dirty.
And we crossed one off the long honorable mentions list. That is a dope song. Let's Get Dirty is a dope song. I just lost it. We're at 6.
6.
Number 6, Diz, what do you got?
Yes.
I got Superman Love a 6 off of the Red Gone Wild record. Eric Sermon on the beat. And they're using that old funky tune. I couldn't even tell you where it's originally from, but I first heard that like in the Doggy Style record on a skit, and I was like, man, I wish somebody would make a track out of that. And they did, Redman did, and it was such a dope track, man. So I love that Red Gone Wild record. I don't know how it compares in everybody's mind to his other stuff or whatever, but there's some bright spots on there for me. So, and oh, and there's five more of those songs apparently.
Mhm.
And
I
the
Every
heard.
album,
first
pretty
one,
much.
yeah, and I heard the first one and I love that one too. It almost made my list. It was close, man, but I had to squeeze it out. But yeah, Superman Love is Sick.
I have every single Superman Lover song on my honorable mentions because
They're all dope songs.
I mean, what
Yeah,
great
nice.
storytelling. And each one, sometimes when they
Mhm.
have, like EPMD did Jane, a bunch of versions of Jane, and that I kind of felt hit or miss. Superman Lover, I mean, but it's the type of shit that Redman's built for. Just that funny, don't take it too serious. He's the Superman Lover. And you're right, the first one's probably my favorite, but they're all great. And Red Gone Wild version's dope too. Okay, number 5, and I'm getting away from a Redman album. I'm going to 1995's Eric Sermon's Insomnia compilation, and I'm going with Funkorama. I kind of think some people forget about this compilation. I think it kind of flew, not under, but I don't think people really look back at this compilation. It was all artists Eric Sermon was working with at the time. Some are long and gone, not to be heard of, but you also got the Redmans and the Keith Murrays. And this Redman song, I remember the video, just loving it. This song came out between There's the Dark Side album and Muddy Waters, and it has that vibe to it. But I just think it's Redman in that era doing what he did best. Super dope beat by the E double. In the mid 90s, all Def Squad members were just killing it. Just killing it. Number 5, Funkorama. It's funky as hell. What's your number 5, Raven?
Number 5. So we hit 1998 with the Death Squad El Nino album, and I went with Death Squad Delight with Eric Sermon and Keith Murray. I mean, it's a rapper's delight, homage, and Redman sounds amazing on that beat. Eric Sermon remade it, so it was an Eric Sermon sounding version of that song. Eric Sermon, really, I think Death Squad was killing it so much because of Eric Sermon's production. He is super underrated, as an East Coast producer, and people don't bring him up enough, in my opinion. Death Squad Delight, that song fucking fun. It's like 7 minutes long. I love that shit.
You're right. Eric Sermon is a top 5 dual threat producer / rapper, I think. But you're right. He should be mentioned up there with the Pete Rocks and Premiers and Large Professors, because starting with EPMD all the way through all these things we're talking about.
Fuck yeah.
And that album is so dope, El Nino.
Oh yeah, I love that whole thing.
That whole album
It should have
is
came
great.
out years before, but I think it was awesome.
Number 5, what made your list is
Light One with Your Boy from the Reggie record featuring Method Man and Bun B. I mean, what a combination, man. Those guys sounded dope on there. I love me some Bun B, and this is one of them, let's light it up type of tracks. So the Audibles produced it, and they're pretty new to me. But yeah, this is my second track from that Reggie record. It's a dope song.
You know what's interesting to me about Bun B is no matter what type of artist he does songs with, it just fits. And he's always sounding like Bun B. He's not changing his style, but he always seems to fit, whether it's a New York artist or West Coast. It's strange. He just always fits. I got nothing but respect for Bun B. Number 4, I'm going for the first time to 1996's Muddy Waters. And throughout history, I see a lot of people think Muddy Waters is his best album. I always thought it was a bit overrated. I like it. It's a dope Redman album. But this song had to make it. We talked about it before. Whatever, man. You just can't help but love it. We got Eric Sermon on the beat, and he's even rapping on here a couple bars here and there. And just like I'll Beat It, it's such a great hook. Just screams Redman. Witty rhymes. I know it's a common pick, but I just honestly love this song. Whatever, man. Genius. Number 4, Raven, what do you got?
Number 4, I went back to 1999 for the Blackout album, which still I'm really surprised with how much like 99 to 2001 Redman's on this list. But I went with 4 Seasons from Red and Meth with Ja Rule and LL Cool J. It's another track produced by Eric Sermon, and I mean, fuck. at the time, 99, Ja Rule really looked like he was gonna do something. He had that him and DMX, they really could have did something. And then he crashed and burned real fucking hard.
Real fucking
Um,
hard.
but he was dope in the song. And of course, LL Cool J is one of my top couple, top tier list. I couldn't put him at one maybe, but I don't know if he could be at three. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So any song he's in automatically is going to get more love from me anyway.
You're right. Ja Rule crashed and burned, but he was really hot for a minute there.
That first album, and then he started singing and shit, and he lost me
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
I know he got more money out of it, but fuck him for that.
All right. Number 4. Diz, what is your number 4?
Put It Down, produced by Timbaland. This is on the Red Gone Wild record.
Mm-hmm.
The Redman's creativity, man, he's just you can tell he has a lot of freedom in his lyrics and stuff, and he just goes all out on here. Timbaland kills it on the beat, man, and it's just, something to ride to, man. So I love the track, my top 4.
And speaking of his creativity, I was talking, it might have been you, Raven, last week, talking about, I remember an interview with Redman, and they were talking to him about how versatile he was and how he comes up with all these different, things. And he's like, I could do a song with anyone. I could do a song with a fish about a fish. And that always stuck in my head. Like he probably could. He could do a song with a fish about a fish, and it would be entertaining as hell because it's Redman. That always stuck in my head. It might have been MTV. No, it wasn't Cribs. But if no one's ever seen the Redman Cribs, that shit is
hilarious.
Funny. It's like
hilarious.
It's like a 1-bedroom apartment
with like 8 people sleeping on the floor under piles of clothes and shit.
It is funny as hell. Like it's literally a little apartment and just shit everywhere. And he's like, "This is the fridge. This is the 1-bedroom. Here's where I play PlayStation." Awesome. It's funny as hell. I mean, it's Redman. Top 3. And I actually thought this would be 1 or 2, but it got bumped. And we're going back to Doc's the name. And I'm going with Da Da Da, because I love these reminisce type songs. He's talking about all the things he did as a kid. These things always get me. Think of Ice Cube's Doing Dumb Shit off a Death Certificate, but with a Redman twist. Same idea. But all the things he's saying, it's like, yeah, he talks about how everyone knew the pattern to Pac-Man and just things like that. It's really dope. And Eric Sermon on the beat. And I wanted to talk on, usually I'm not a big fan of skits. Most skits are a waste to me. I usually skip them. I'm just not big into skits. This album, and even a few other Redman albums, the skits are really funny. I don't skip them. There's so many good skits. That's rare for me. There's so many wasted skits out there, and Redman at least makes them entertaining. So many great lines about being a kid. Da da da. Number 3. What about you, Raven?
So my number 3, I was on the same album, 90 Stocks the Name, but I went with Once Upon a Time Up in Jersey. Yo! Produced by Redman and Govmatic. It's a real nice throwback to Ice Cube. And I always loved Ice Cube anyway with that. He's also in my top list. So Jersey Yo always, that was like the standout on that album for me.
That was my number 12. Because I love how he flips that. All right, number 3, Jersey Yo. Diz, what do you got?
I got the Rockwilder from the Blackout record. I love the song. I first heard it when they were doing the verses on TV, and I was like, man, these guys still got it, man. I'm gonna have to check them out. And I started, checking out some more Method Man. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to Redman. He's on the backlog, But that's always remained one of my favorites. The dope track. What can I say? It's got a dope beat. It's got the beat is so dope, man. And really the way Method Man raps on it is just kills it. Just blew my mind at his age how he could just do that. And Redman holds his own, of course. And the track is just a new classic that I discovered in recent times. So I got to put that as my number 3 there.
After How High, that's probably the next Meth Red song that comes to mind when I think of them as a duo. I mean, it's iconic. Number 2, people, you're going to be sick of hearing about this album, but 1994's There's a Dark Side. Go smoke a blunt in the basement at night. and listen to Dare's the Dark Side. And my favorite song off this album is Can't Wait. I loved this album when it dropped, and this was always my favorite track off it. I love the sample in the hook. I'm a broken record, another dope Eric Sermon beat. It's a simple but funky beat, and the sample just always gets me. Red brings it lyrically as always. Not sure I can explain why, but this song just always stood out to me. Can't Wait. Maybe it's a sample, but love this song. Check it out. Can't Wait. Number 2. What's your number 2, Raven?
So my number 2, I got a little story to go along with it too, if you don't mind.
I love stories.
Back in 1995, for the show, Def Jam presents the show soundtrack. How High from Redman and Method Man were on there. That was the first time they had linked up, and the charisma was there. The show went on tour and actually came through my town. Nothing ever came through my fucking town. So we went, and during How High, Red and Meth got into the crowd, and for some reason, Salisbury, Maryland's crowd decided to mob them, stole Redman's shoes, stole Method Man's Wu-Tang chain, stole one of his Nikes, took like Redman's fitted, so it ended with I think Redman had a broken foot or a sprained foot or something, and he was just like, they were both like, fuck Salisbury, fuck Maryland, we ain't never fucking coming back, you ain't never gonna see us do this bitch again. And I don't think they ever did, but I got to see it, and that was really fucking awesome. And plus, How High, I had that cassette single too that I kept on repeat. It had a remix on it on the B side.
Dope
Both
remix.
were done by Eric Sermon. But yeah, How High, it was the first showcase of those two together, so that had to top my list.
Well, no, we all know why no one was coming to your town to perform. Goddamn, you finally get something nice and you break it. What the?
And then the next year, Busta Rhymes blew up with Wuha, and he came through, and he went to our mall and hung out in Foot Locker and signed their backboard. He didn't even come to the fucking show, so I paid to see A+.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough. that sucks.
My town sucks for music.
Oh no, that's a very good story. And I have How High on honorable mentions, even though I like it more than some of the songs on my list. I was just focusing on his solo stuff. Number 2 for you, Diz. What made your list?
Mary Jane from the Red Gone Wild record again. That must be my favorite Redman record, apparently.
Obviously.
There's some few good songs on there, but this one is just classic to me, man. You got Nate Dogg on there. It's classic Nate Dogg. And of course, Method Man brings what he brings, And then you got some Snoop, who's pretty good on the track itself. But the beat is dope, man. I think Rockwilder did the beat, and it's one of my favorite songs. It's my second favorite song by Redman on a Redman record. So that's what I got, man. I don't know. I really like that Red Gone Wild album, I guess.
It's a very underrated album.
It is underrated. You're right. It doesn't get brought up all that often.
I'd never seen it
at all, right? Yeah. But that was probably his last Def Jam album, right? I believe so.
Yeah. It was on Def Jam / Gilla House. That was the first opening of Gilla House too.
All right. Number 1. Before I make all these lists, I always say to myself, Chris, what do you think your number 1 will be? And 50% of the time I'm wrong. Sometimes it goes down 5 spots. This time I was right. My favorite Redman song is, and probably always will be, from 1992's What the Album, Time for Some Action. The Be Real sample, just holy shit. Eric Sermon on the beat again. He just fucking kills this song. Just destroys it. Up to this time, we had only heard Redman on a couple EPMD songs. So when I heard he was getting his own album, I was excited. I was a fan of EPMD. And the single Time for Some Action, it was like you got one shot. And now I feel like I'm singing an Eminem song. But you got one shot, you got to kill it. And he lost himself in Time for Some Action. This song gets me so damn hype. I mean, I could go fight someone after listening to this because I'd have all the energy and adrenaline in the world. But that Be Real sample, I mean, it don't get much better than that. So Time for Some Action will always be the shit to me. What's number 1 on your list and heart, Raven?
So it killed me not to put Time for Some Action on this list. Literally, I took it off because I wanted to go with the part 2 and Cisco Kid, a little more fun, But this really surprised the fuck out of me when I sat down and was like, what song do I really my favorite song from Redman. And really, it's because you got to watch the video to really appreciate this song. It's from 2020 off the Three Joints EP, and it's called "Slap the Shit Out Ya." The video is so goddamn funny. Just him slapping literally everyone to the
Everyone.
beat of that fucking song. Like it's a great song. And it opens with a little PSA where he's like, "Hi, my name is Redman, but white people call me Redman." And it fucking kills me. Like it's Redman, classic Redman, but it's on in 2020. He's still doing the same fucking ridiculous shit. And a guy named Andrew Listerman produced this beat.
That was on my honorable mentions because of the video. And I think there was even a little controversy where people were upset because he was slapping women in it.
Yeah, even though he has the little PSA at the beginning.
Yeah. It's funny as hell. It makes me want to go watch that video. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh my God. Go watch the Slap Somebody video and the I'll Be That video. You'll be happier after doing so. All right, we're to the end. Diz, what is number one?
My number one Redman song is "I'll Be That."
Nice.
Doc's the Name record, man. I love the beat, man. It's Eric Sermon, Rockweiler, and Warren G all in the mix on that.
Yeah, what a weird mixture.
That is
it's so cool. But of course, the hook is just genius. You know, they say I ain't shit, or fuck you. And the thing about Redman is like when he is laying down a track. I feel it's almost like you're watching like a mini movie, because he paints a picture so vividly. And so with his creativity, like he has all control of what he says, and he's got this imagination that's unhinged. And, I enjoyed it, man. I loved it. This track was kind of like just all of that wrapped in one for me. It's a catchy track too. So I think I had to be my favorite one when it was all said and done. So I'll Be That.
You're right, that hook. I know I said it 10 times when I brought up that song, but genius hook. Just genius hook.
I love that he got to experience all of this new. This is so awesome.
That is a really cool perspective. I love that. That's a really cool perspective.
It was a lot of fun, man. And his old records are dope, and his new records are dope. It was dope. And you're right about the skits, man. The skits were entertaining. He's got this skit. I couldn't tell you what album it's from right now, where he's an ice cream man, and this lady's yelling at him for yelling at her son. Oh my God, I was dying, man.
Yeah, I think his first 5 albums just had great skits.
It did, yeah.
It was a real treat, man. I thought this shit was dope.
You're right. His imagination is just wild. For all you first timers, if a song doesn't get named, but I thought it needed some love, it goes on the honorable mentions list, and I just give it some love. And my list is pretty long this time for some reason. But a gem on the How to Be a Player soundtrack, Down With Us, Redman redoes the old BDP song number 1, and he does it in a fun way. My number 11 easily was Rated R off his first album. Blow Your Mind, Tonight's the Night, 1,000,001 Buddhist Spots, What It Looked Like, From Muddy Waters, Pick It Up, Pick It Up. You see some weed on the ground, pick it up, pick it up. Let the Monkey Out off of Doc's the Name, kind of similar vibe to I'll Be That. It's the Diggy Diggy Doc, y'all. He remakes the DOC thing. His remakes of other people's songs and his twist on it always hits it out of the park, no doubt. Smash Something. A year or two ago, he did a song called 80 Bars. And I mean, he's still got it to this day. And off of Mudface, Dope Man. And I wanted to give a special shout out to Nutty Professor 2 soundtrack song he did with Eminem, Off the Wall.
Great song.
Great fucking song. They both destroy it. Hip hop shapes how I view the world. And since that song came out, when Redman says, I do a one handstand on top of your Ninja, crash it. When I see like a crotch rocket motorcycle, I think of Redman doing a handstand on the fucking thing. Crazy. Did we forget anything?
Everything I would have said, I think you guys hit. I would, really anything from Blackout and like the How High soundtrack, any of the Red Meth songs on there, when they're together, it's always fun. Blackout 2 lacked a little bit in comparison, but I love those first couple.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Enjoy the trip.
Thank you. It was great talking about Reggie Noble. Have a good one. Peace.
Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide,